Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're returning back to Darkest Dungeon and I'm checking out more skins and more playable characters, I guess, to check out the dungeon. This time I'm trying to do it a bit slightly different. I am giving a bit of background to each of the characters and then we will check out their skills respectively. So hope you all enjoy. This is the Acolyte of Sun. When only the flickering light of the campfire illuminates the darkness, the Acolyte uses this light to help the party. They can buff themselves or the party and heal those in need of it. They can also help party members keep it together even in the darkest of times. The Acolyte uses their verse book and their orb attack enemies and heal the group. However, their robes offer very little in way of protection, meaning they have to rely on dodging and their friends to protect them. The Acolyte helps the party with buffs and healing rituals from their verse book. In case they have to attack, they primarily use arrows and their snakes. Additionally, they can also create a mirage, which debuffs enemies and heals the party. The Archwizard's abilities extend beyond her explosive magic, aided by her playful familiar Chomiske and her remarkable Crimson Demon Eyes. Her magical eyesight grants her exceptional visual acuity, allowing her to spot weaknesses and strategize with precision. The Archmage possesses an unparalleled mastery of explosion magic. With a single chant, she conjures forth immense power, unleashing explosive spells of cataclysmic proportions. Her precision and control over abilities allow her to channel her mana into concentrated bursts of destruction. Though limited in usage, her explosive spells leave a lasting impact, decimating enemies and landscapes alike. The Archwizard's equipment embodies her explosive nature. Her staff, adorned with intricate runes, channels and amplifies her magical power, allowing her to unleash devastating explosions. Her robe, dyed in deep crimson, is adorned with golden trimmings, symbolizing her fiery spirit. The Temple Assassin vows to guard the mysteries and thirst of knowledge. She will conceal the whereabouts of her party and explore the secrets within as well as without. Instead of wearing heavy armor, the Templar Assassin can conjure shadows to conceal herself and twist light to reflect her magic. Her psionic power is strong enough to destroy any armor. When she transforms into pure energy blades, no enemy can escape. As a thief scholar, the Templar Assassin excels both as an assassin and psionic energy, capable of dealing huge bursts of physical damage to swatches of enemies and shrug off high damage nukes and disjoint projectiles with expert positioning and timing. This is the Blood Hunter. For many years, many supernatural creatures have appeared in Hamlet, and the Blood Hunter has come for this purpose. She longs to hunt and kill the filthy creatures, offering different hates to the gods. The 3 aspects of self and the 4 transformations of gods are the 7 different forces. A bloody girl who came to Hamlet for the sake of her blood sacrificial deity. The sword, known as the Queen, allows her to break and release shadows, as well as further tear open bleeding wounds. The light weight of the sword allows her to float freely like petals. The double-barrel shotgun named Queen helps her hunt down bulky monsters faster or repel enemies that hinder her. Although the hunting attire of the Bloody Hunter looks like the evening dress of an aristocratic girl, it can still resist attacks from ordinary monsters. However, compared to foolishly resisting attacks, she is better at dancing to avoid enemy attacks. Her antique gun and sword make her combat style flexible and free, without causing any distress to the army. Some bizarre survival skills is the experience she has gathered from traveling around the world. It may come in handy in some occasions. A scholar from a strange land, Yumemi is well versed in the study of anomalous phenomena, using the cross condensed with mysterious power to destroy her enemy. She seems very interested in those evil things that contaminated this land. Growing on Atalanta, eventually became an unrivaled hunter, completing numerous adventures such as hunting the boars, some unknown had conjured up the spirit of Atalanta in an unusual way. She was a famous hunter who made her debut in Greek mythology, famous for shooting the wild boars in the quest for the hunt, and apparently is inspired by Greek mythology. In quieter environments, Ministrel's beastly detection and legendary playing skills are better. We are full of energy. The enemy is well aware of the situation. Victory is within the grasp. Ministrel wear light clothing that does not affect and interfere with physical activity, not damaged by travel, presumably not something you see everywhere. Carrying several flying knives for self-defense, it seems that only against rogue wild dogs. Exotic instruments called gyugen are used, some of which are considered expensive relics in foreign countries, but to locals they are just weird instruments. In the distance, some monks especially admire this instrument. They see mathematics as a bridge between everything and music as a tool for the soul to communicate with the nature. The Ministrel can easily change the moods of others through superb playing skills. She can also use covert flying knife and sharp string to ensnare the enemy in the net. Agile skill will let her always be in the battle in the initiative. In the Desert Empire of the Far East, anyone could be one of the spies known as the Eye of the Empire. Most of them just mentioned the king spying on the powerful, only a few were responsible for the assassination. Some of them are honorable, but it is proper to make them commanders. Although she also wanted to give a little help to the partners who acted together this time, but no one wanted to be touched by a pair of clumsy and strangely hot hands. A small song in the survivor's memory was the most peaceful communication she could make in this adventure. After crossing a trench, the survivors drifted to the town from a civilized world we have not yet touched. She was calm and gentle, but she did not hide her curiosity about everything here. She said she would make a modest contribution to the battle for the purpose of some kind of balance. Her petite body has enough strength to resist deep sea water pressure. The constantly running nuclear fusion in the body provides her with huge power. This is the Apothecary. The Apothecary has concocted a variety of formulas to aid her and her allies in investigation. She can heal and strengthen allies as well as hinder her enemies. The Apothecary is highly intelligent and resourceful. She spends her time investigating mysteries and illnesses and diseases. The discovery of the estate has opened up the possibility of finding rare and exotic herbs and plants that may further her research. Have an illness or wounds that need treatment? The Apothecary is the hero you might need at a camp. The Runaway is mostly selfish with her survival skills. Focusing mainly on her, she can improve her flexibility or her attacks. However, despite all, she can still help her allies at a cost. Embers and ash overwhelm foes and mine alike, as the scars she bears resemble those she inflicts so readily. Make note of the said flames, as more fuel for the fire burns them ever more brighter, only for her to snuff them out so violently. Rummage from sources she is ashamed to mention, the Runaway makes proficient use of her damaged and forgotten fire iron. Either through luck or perseverance, the flames she is so obsessed with haven't consumed her gear, instead wrought with a burden she refuses to remember. The Dragon Mistress is the fighting mistress focused on her mind and is really mobile. She ends up interfering with her allies in the process of defeating her opponent. Should she go berserk, she could easily end any enemy, but at the cost of her usually calm behavior. This fighting mistress have hardened her body and fists by training in a faraway monastery in the Sunward Islands. After acquiring all of the monk's knowledge and earning the title of master, she came to the hamlet in hope of ending the chaos that torment the heart of men. The fighting mistress used a combat style that only used her fists that she hardened via harsh practice. She used iron equipment provided from the monastery where she trained. Another character which was not mentioned in the game, the character for Rugal, I think. So just enjoy the skills. This is Ceobe. Ceobe was confused, or rather being able to step into such a new world itself was a confusing thing for her. Apart from the few familiar faces she met for the first time here, there were too many people waiting for her to meet. Of course, she wanted to get to know the food more than the people. A high degree of infection endows Ceobe with the ability to shape weapons. Since shaping itself requires a suitable weapon as a carrier, Ceobe will instinctively choose the weapon and keep it for herself. After that, according to the quality of the weapon, Ceobe will give it distinct ordinarium arts manifestations: fire, rock, ice, and so on. Still possessing the capacity for few religious rites and a vivid understanding of barriers, she can prove useful in a camp. Should you catch her in a good mood, if nothing else, she can be found having a drink by herself or owning her evasive skills. As sole keeper of the shrine, this destituted maiden brings the full fury of a forgotten god into battle, striking yokai and heathen alike with her blessed gohei, and is using her mastery over barriers. Though preferring to finish things quickly, she's still capable of granting mirror blessings to others. Whatever blessings this Miko claims to have hold on her weapons requires no sense of faith to the witness. Revenge Ronin, the Baiken are no inferior to men. She's a natural gladiator. In order to achieve a certain goal, she gave up living as a woman. She is very impulsive. The slightest disagreement will make her fight. She's the type of person who uses her hands before using her brain. She always implements her own ideas. If somebody disagrees with her, she will never give up until there's a clear distinction between black and white. However, if she judges that the other party is more reasonable with her, she will agree with the other party's point of view. Baiken will use a samurai sword to kill the enemy. The various weapons hidden in her sleeve are enough to make enemies tremble with fear. It seems that she will also use magic to summon the tatami she used to attack. Baiken put on a black coat like a Japanese school uniform with a white skull like a cape outside her wafuku. The broken arm on her right side was a bruise with a grapple and various weapons. In her left hand, she held an extremely sharp katana. At camp, the Esper is reserved and hesitant to associate with the other heroes. She often feels distant due to her hidden powers and secret personal fear of what others think of her. The Esper possesses an unnatural power that, for all intents and purposes, is magical in nature. It is further amplified when she calls upon the beasts within, transforming her into a monstrous being. The Esper has on her person a mage blade and a battle dress covering her form. The mage blade acts as both a standard bladed weapon and an amplifier for her innate strength, though it admittedly sees little use in her transformed form. There is also a legend that if a witch like Joan, I would be happy to light her up. After she was burned to death, such a threatening soldier saw the flying white dove and realized he had killed the real saint and deeply regretted it. From the age of 17 to the age of 19, she was executed by fire. It took only 2 years for her to become famous in history. Joan continued to work miracles after his arrest. According to legend, the peasant girl who knew nothing but a few prayers did not give in to a random debate with the first-class theologians, which made it very difficult for her to be sentenced as a heretic. Saria stretches her kindness and tenderness towards those gathered around the fire. On the battlefield, Saria will use her medical knowledge and portable medical equipment to treat those in the battlefield. With her extraordinary fighting skills, Saria can both break the enemy's defenses with a shield and make them lose resistance, or directly destroy their equipment. For the Hepvier, sadly there is no description on it given in the game, so it'll be rather short, so just enjoy her skills in battle. The Dreamer. Despite already being asleep, the Dreamer takes great solace in the warmth of the campfire. Comforting dreams provide safety, respite, or even forewarning of what lies ahead. The chances of nightmares, however, is all too real. Enigmatic and eccentric, the Dreamer is nonetheless a stalwart companion and competent foot soldier. Seemingly clairvoyant despite the blindfold, the powers she harnesses reassure her allies and disrupt her enemies. calling upon unknowable powers from her mysterious source. Care should be taken, however, for if she happens to wake up. Clothed in a mix of wrapped leather and reinforced plate, the Dreamer presents a surprising amount of resistance on the battlefield, standing to blows that will put stronger soldiers to shame. The sword she wields is seemingly effective, cutting through the hordes reliably despite its dull edge. But when she wakes up, everything changes. This is the ancient one. An ancient chaos is everywhere. Now the haters, the trembling, the ultimate horror. See, in the madman's prophecy, stars had come around again to the right positions. We have nowhere to run. When the time have come again to the right position, relay at the bottom of the dark sea begins to rise. Cultists no longer speak, the sleeper awaken, and despair will fall. The sound of evil and madness began to spread. Sobriety is the scariest torture, involved with depravity and destruction. She will return to the land again. Keep in mind, the Cthulhu will have a glorious resurrection in real year. The great old ones return again and destroy everything. Lilith, the night, darkness and fear seems her domain. Of course, the blood running in the vessel is a source of enchanting power. Do you accept my power or not? I'm the one that makes the decision anyway. A kiss from a succubus is hollow, but the hearts of the residents in Hamlet are surprisingly hollower. Her sight and the fascinated skirt are not from this world, but they can accidentally combine with the wheat to unleash great power. It is how my sight used to be, she said. Her huge sight with chilliness sleeps in the crystal pile quietly, but seems not infecting nor have been infected by the crystal. Lilith barely shows how she fights. It is said that she can stealthy into a mysterious space called the Edge of Ether. She is a specialist on scouting, raid, and interrupt her enemies from their blind angles. You look surprised, she makes a mocking smile. Is it that hard to understand using natural charm instead of physical power as a weapon? For the Foxlady does not come here to appreciate the wasteland. Mastering the right skills and knowledge will save her life at a critical moment, and those inborn instincts are made reliable. Appearances can't cover up the inner, and the conversation reveals calm and extraordinary temperament. Knowing yourself like the palm of one's hand, a seemingly weak attack can kill an enemy in an instant. A woman from the east, mysterious, but also appears to be particularly publicized. Its strange costumes and strange weapons that never have been seen before just put a blade on the fan. The Monkey King's martial arts has reached its peak, but his weapons he has to use are at least necessary. Although cannot restore the magic armor, he is able to make copies to make the great stage free from the constraints of stick and clothes. Thus, the Monkey King is proficient in 80 kinds of martial arts, 72 kinds of changes, but the so-called endless learning, more practice is always good. The real master always holds an apprentice's heart. The Monkey King is proud of not only his powerful force, but also his use of all kinds of magic and his connections in heaven. He can even get all kinds of elixirs that can support a fight, which can greatly help in an adventure. Sadly for this playable character, the MP40, it has no mention of lore in the game itself, so just enjoy the skills highlighted by this character. Enjoy. The Swordmaiden also has a spirit in the sword, a young woman that comes to the hamlet and slashes her way from the mill. Strangely, her sight never kept up with the enemy in battle. Jaina's full power relies on the cards. Jaina is also the most powerful witch in existence and was once the most trusted woman in Dalaran. She can use both swarm spells and target bombing, as well as large amounts of mana crystals. She can also turn into a Death Knight to protect her teammates. Being eons old, the Nosferatu has learned many tricks to help against the horrors of the beyond, though beware falling asleep. Nosferatu, the undead, the Midnight Deathbird, a curse to last till the end of time itself. Due to his age, he has been reduced to barely an animal, oftentimes using his abilities to shadow to cloak himself and allies for a price. The light dims, soon shadows will rule over the lands. Another character that has the lore not mentioned in the game, this is the Tomb Keeper. The Phlebotomist. From her experiments with blood, she has created many techniques on purifying one's body. From transplants to experimental drugs, she is more than prepared for the horrors of the land. A respected researcher in the fields of phlebotomy, she has come to learn how to handle several situations, from extracting blood from those who attack her and to healing her allies. She knows how to keep her allies alive. The Phlebotomist, equipped with a dagger and apparatus, is an expert at the removal of blood and detoxing one's body. While she tends to stay in the back to support her teammates, she is more than capable of taking care of herself. Sharpen her blades, Valeera is ready to fight. Valeera is a melee assassin who uses stealth as well as fast attacks and powerful finishing blows. Rogue wedding leather, armor, and specializes in melee damage. Righteousness and conviction inspire compelling spearness across the campfire. In the face of mounting stress, Noir is a leader standing tall and refusing to break. Her unshakable belief ensures companions' fears, reassuring them that despite the hardship they will most certainly endure, all will be well in the end. Beltahan and stalwart, the Noir has held the front lines in a rose war. The Noir wears plate armors and wields a long sword. While affording her excellent protection and damage, her armor restricts movement and a sword can't be swung effectively into the back ranks. For the Twilight Knight, when questioned about the homeland, she first becomes strangely quiet. However, what is certain is how she can endure rigorous of survival beyond the safety of the town. From time to time, she appears to hear her sword speaking to her, sometimes she even talks back. She is a skilled swordswoman who leads by gleaming example, and is no stranger to hunting. The gentle glow of a lantern may soothe hearts and minds, but what price must pay to bear the burden of others? Beneath the veneer of calm, her psyche remains as fragile as that of any other. Long experience in battling monsters, the Twilight Knight is no stranger to disturbing sights and sounds. Lucia's fighting style is cruel and elegant. There were many who fancies becoming her new master and taking her far away. Lucia's signature body, its power and elegance inspire her comrades to battlefield. It has been given the title Dawn, for it is seen as a symbol of hope. Lucia's weapons deal both physical and attribute damage. The Warlock is happy to share the story with others. This cheerful and sweet child is able to help others calm down. She can also take the time to communicate with a great sword in order to gain advantage in subsequent battles. Warlock describes her special ability as coming from a silver dragon. She specializes in protecting and maintaining the battle line and is able to retreat from enemy lines even when fighting alone. She has a huge sword of unknown origin and she can occasionally be seen talking to it. But the great power of the great sword also causes her to not accurately hit the enemy before she collected her missing precious trinkets. Warlock uses enchanted heavy armor and relies on the special dragon mark she inherited from her mother's physique, a combination of dragon and elf, which allows Warlock to take a lot of effective damage. At camp, like in combat, the Kunoichi's strength lies in preparedness. She can take time to study what actions to proceed with. Scouting ahead can increase a party's knowledge of lurking threats, while tracking increases the party's chance of surprising enemies. A brutally efficient single-target executioner and crowd control specialist. For the Kunoichi, stealth is key. Mark targets for bonus damages or look for opportunities to surprise a foe. She can also wreak havoc on an enemy's party's order using her modified hand, vanish, and powerful axe. The Kunoichi uses a hand axe sword. her modified hand, and ninja tools, a pairing that allows her to ensnare and execute her mission with professional efficiency. Her lightweight of her clothing allow her high mobility and swift movement. Some of Xiao's habits are different from ours, as if she was from another world, but at least in terms of the ability to survive and inspire morale on the march, she performs a similar but not exactly the same method as ours. After some simple cooperation, she is admired by the adventurers for her ability to work well with her allies, but she says she is also good at fighting alone. Let's just pray she never need to do that. In fact, the blacksmith found that they gradually could not do any upgrade on Xiao's equipment as time goes by. No matter how the reforge or damage is, the equipment will change itself to make more efforts less and less effective. It was difficult to understand, but what's more, when we were asked Xiao about it, she said it was simply was her heart. and subscribe.